welcome to People of Interest. I'm your host, Ryan T. Barlow. I appreciate you coming out here tonight. By coming out here tonight, I mean just literally watching this at home or on your mobile-enabled device, wherever you might be. If this is your first time viewing the show, or perhaps you'd just like a refresher, the way the show works is I have written the descriptions for three very interesting characters, and waiting in the wings, I have three very interesting performers who are going to perform those characters. The catch is they have no idea who their characters are going to be. They're not going to find out till I read them to you, the audience. And who are those performers, you're asking? Let's take a look. We've got Joe Wendrychowicz, Katie Arrosa, and Sandra Akins. And as a fun sort of treat for this evening, maybe it's just a treat for me, I think it's a treat for everyone. But I've never met Katie or Sandra before tonight. These are two people, it's just brand new to the show, brand new to me as a person. And we're going to see what happens. This is uncharted waters, except for Joe. Joe's very charted. This is his third time on the show, but that's not bad. Charted waters are great. You know, uncharted and uncharted. They're both great. Yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoy the show tonight. As a reminder, if you have any questions for the guests, put them right into the comment section inside of Zoom, your Zoom window. Don't use the Q&A. That doesn't work. Just put it right in the comments, and I might read your question on air. It's like you are a part of the show, which is amazing. And feel free to comment with the other people, who are also making questions. If they put a great question in, to say, hey, great question. Let's foster some positivity in the People of Interest community. Anyway, time to get started. But as always, here are today's headlines.
Good evening. I'm Neil Bardhan with POI News. It's 79 degrees in South Philly, and like Buster Poindexter, it's feeling hot, hot, hot. First Lady Jill Biden met with the Queen of England earlier this week. Dr. J, also known as Jill from Philly, is attending the G7 summit in Cornwall, England, which is expected to be lit AF thanks to COVID vaccinations. Early reports suggest that Queen Elizabeth will prepare for Jill Biden a number of talking points focused on the season finale of Mayor of Easttown. Turning now to local news, Philly police reportedly have seized 260 so-called ghost guns this week. Deputy Philadelphia Police Commissioner Joel Dales noted that this number surpassed the total of ghost guns the department took control of in all of 2020. Law enforcement would like to remind members of the public that if they do encounter phantasms, poltergeists, or anything else weird in the neighborhood, who should they call? Ghostbusters. Elsewhere in crime, Emma Coronel Espuro, the wife of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, pled guilty yesterday to charges of drug distribution and aiding El Chapo's prison break in 2015. The 31-year-old former beauty queen is the crime lord's third wife and mother of his twins. In her closing statement to the judge presiding, she asked, "But if I'm in prison, and my husband's also in prison, then who will help me escape? Who? Who will help the helper, Your Honor?" And speaking of escapes, an emu got loose in Prince George, British Columbia. He was dubbed Dora the Explorer for his repeatedly proven ability to break free of pens, corrals, and shackles of humanity generally speaking. The flightless bird, an individual of a species native to Australia, made his way along train tracks through various parts of town and finally to the airport, where authorities noted that he did not have a valid boarding pass and thus could not leave the province. That's a lot to take in. Good night. White Claw hard seltzers support People of Interest. Now that bars and restaurants are reopening, we'd like to inform you that it's White Claw summer, baby. So go get vaccinated and then go become a drunken mess at your favorite bar or restaurant.
Chances are, if you've had a disagreement with someone, you've considered writing to my next guest for advice. Daniel Dunton, the writer behind the charming syndicated advice column Equitable Compromise, has been impartially settling disputes between spouses, friends, coworkers, siblings, neighbors, and more. Or so he would have you believe. New and credible allegations have surfaced that Dunton has been taking bribes from letter writers to rule in their favor. Dunton, who has so far been silent on the matter, except for an official statement denying the accusations, has come under increased pressure as a number of publications have begun to drop his column. He joins us here tonight to finally tell his side of the story and explain why these allegations are overblown and taken out of context. Daniel Dunton, welcome.
Hi, Ryan. Thank you for having me.
So, I have to say, when I saw the news, I was pretty shocked. A lot of these allegations, people are saying that they've sent you gifts, they've sent you money, they've sent you all manner of things, and 9 times out of 10, they're getting good results that they can take back to their loved ones or whoever they're having a dispute with, and then they have that proof on their side. What's your initial response here?
Ryan, I'm a gambling man. Maybe you don't know that. I am a gambling man. And a few months ago, I went to Parks Casino in Bensalem, Pennsylvania, and I sat down with $10 at the blackjack table. About 4 hours later, I was up $30,000. And long story short, I came upon some gifts that I got from my blackjack winnings. It is just a coincidence that in the months following that hot streak on the blackjack table, that all of these people who claim to have the resources to gift me with things were the ones that ended up winning their disputes based on my expertise. Pure coincidence. I'm a gambling man.
Well, that's that might explain things, but you've had so many people have come forward where they've said that they've actually given you these things to win arguments. We have they're anonymous, but Rachel S., Andrew N., Ralph A. They've all sort of come forward and said, I actually had a pretty shaky case and I decided to put it all in. Are you saying that these letter writers are liars?
These letter writers do not exist. This is big casino trying to get back at me for my incredible luck. They tried to kick me off the blackjack table, which technically they can, but I refused to leave and they took offense to that. And so now they're trying to sabotage me and my business and how I make money 9 to 5. It's big casino.
Well, I mean, some people have brought up that your in the past couple of years, your judgments seemed kind of sketchy. Where you had the wife who was snooping on her husband and didn't find anything. The husband was mad that she was snooping. She really had no reason to snoop, and you ruled in favor of snooping, where previously you'd been kind of an anti-snooping stance.
Ryan, I'm a gambling man.
As you said.
The snooping thing was taken too far. You said that I am historically anti-snooping, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I still am anti-snooping, but I'm a gambling man, and sometimes you have to if you go red 10 times, sometimes you have to go black because sometimes black will come up. So yeah, do I change my point of view sometimes? Sure. Am I consistent? Not entirely. But I'm a gambling man, Ryan, and I have to take chances. So no, well, I'm not consistent. I'm not perfect, Ryan. Is that what you want me to say? I'm not perfect. I make mistakes.
Well, are you worried that people are going to be less likely to take your advice now that you're sort of admitting that you've made mistakes?
Of course I am, but I'm a gambling man, but I'm also an honest man, and and you show me who isn't perfect. You show me somebody who is perfect at their job, Ryan. Now I have a tremendous amount of respect for you. I do, but are you going to tell me that? Are you going to tell me that you are perfect at your job every single day? That you're always 100% honest?
I mean, yeah, I have lapses, sure.
Okay. Do you
I
ever
don't feel
cut
that the stakes
corners?
are well, sure, I've cut corners. I'm not
Yeah.
perfect. I'm not the perfect, interviewer all the time. There's questions I've always regretted not asking, but I feel like maybe the stakes are a little bit lower in my case because you're actually the outcomes of your column are actually affecting people's lives. I mean, aren't you worried that? I mean, assuming that these allegations are not true and that you really are just a gambling man, aren't you worried that being inconsistent could, irreparably ruin somebody's life?
Ryan, I just took the biggest gamble of all, and that's lying live on the internet. And you know what? You're right. Everything that they've been saying is true. Um, and I'm sorry. I have been accepting bribes. I let my selfishness get the best of me, and I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry, Ryan. It's all true.
Wow,
Rachel
all
A.
of it.
and
What?
Ralph S.
What? What
Yeah,
happened? Wait,
all. Sorry, you go.
how did
You
this?
go. Ask your question.
How did this all start? Okay, I mean, I appreciate your honesty here. But what happened? Where did you say, okay, you know what? Who sent that first bribe? And you said, all right, I'm gonna, this might be a way to enhance my income.
Well, I was doing a dispute with a lovely married couple, Max L. and Tracy L. And I had mentioned just off the cuff, that I was interested in going axe throwing, and it just so happened that Max was an axe throwing coach, which I did not know, of course. But he mentioned it to me, and he said, Tracy had gone to use the restroom for a minute, and Max said to me, if things go well for me today, maybe I can throw in a free axe throwing session for you. And at first, I kind of just thought he was joking. I didn't think much of it. But as our meeting went on, I could not get that comment out of my head, and I was like, my gosh, is he serious? Could I really get a free axe throwing session out of just saying he's right and she's wrong? Um, and I took a chance, and he was very wrong. Their dispute had something to do with the family house, which belonged to Tracy and was belonged to Tracy's family for many years. And I gave Max the house because I was selfish. And so, long story short, it went from axe throwing sessions to thousands of dollars to yachts and planes. I have 7 trampolines now.
7 trampolines.
It's way too many. I don't even have a kid.
Oh, do you like push them all together so you can jump from one to the other? And
I do, but the problem is they all have nets, and I don't
oh,
have the
so
leg
you
strength
can't
to
really,
get high enough. But
right?
I just end up jumping into the net a lot.
Yeah. Um, so I really appreciate you admitting this, and it does kind of we do actually have a personal connection that you might not be aware of, but a friend of mine uh, wrote in to your column once to settle a dispute that the two of us were having. That I always thought was I didn't agree with it, and I really am curious if this was a legit answer that you gave us.
Hmm.
So you might remember this. A woman, KC, wrote in and said that she had borrowed a book of mine that I'd not yet read, and then didn't return it. She had it for 3 years. She still hadn't returned it. And I hadn't even gotten a chance to read the book yet. And you said it was fine that she got to keep the book. And I was a little miffed. I still don't have the book, and I'd really like to read it. And I'm wondering, did she pay you off?
She said if I ruled in her favor, and I am no judge, but I do like to use legal terms. If I ruled in her favor, she would let me borrow the book from her, which she did. And it was a very good book. You should read it sometime if you ever get your hands on another copy. And remind me, what book was that? Because I already forget.
Uh, it was Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence.
Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence. Yes, fine read.
Do you still have the book?
I do not have the book. Somebody offered me. That's actually how I got trampoline number 7. Is we swapped the book for the trampoline.
Oh, so that one wasn't even sort of illicit. That was just a straight up swap.
Just old timey at a swap meet.
So, speaking, I guess, on behalf of all the aggrieved parties, do it seems you have some remorse. What are you going to do going forward? Are you going to stop accepting these bribes and start, were any of them real? Like how can we trust you going forward? What are you going to do to make this right?
I don't think I can be trusted going forward, but I am really the only person in town that does this sort of business. So I'm really everyone's only option if they would like to have their dispute in a column. And maybe I'll kind of just turn my business into sort of like a joke thing where they kind of write into me as a joke, not knowing what I'm going to say, not knowing if I'll say the right thing, the morally right thing. So I think I'm just slowly turning it into satire while I also collect an incredible collection of items in my house. Every room is full and I cannot walk in my house. I have so much stuff.
Oh, so you probably don't even.
That's my
really
plan.
Need to. So, in the before we go, do you have any final remarks for the people who have been reading your column for so long, and how they should take your previous columns now?
Yeah, keep reading, keep supporting me. I'll say it. I'm probably not a good guy. You probably don't like me as a person, but I'm good at what I do. If not anything else, I'm entertaining. And if anyone has a storage unit that they can bribe me with, please let me know because I will absolutely rule in your favor.
Okay. Well, Daniel Dundon, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Ryan.
People of Interest is supported by AMC Theaters. Movie theaters are back, and in case you're wondering, yes, the floors are still incredibly sticky and gross.
Over the past 2 decades, few have been more prolific at interviewing people than Tina Gabbard. For countless publications and media outlets, including The New Yorker, NPR, and CNN, Gabbard has interviewed some of the most powerful and noteworthy people in the world. Her signature disarming yet forceful style has been able to get some of the most reclusive and guarded people to open up to her, including author J.D. Salinger and chess grandmaster Bobby Fischer. Now, after hundreds and hundreds of interviews, Gabbard has decided she's burned out and has publicly declared that she'll never interview again in any shape or form. Even if it's just a casual line of questions to get to know someone better at a dinner party, she's not going to do it. However, that doesn't mean she hates the interview process entirely. It's just now she wants to exclusively be interviewed. In fact, she's going on a world tour of interview programs to enjoy the luxuries of being interviewed, which of course brings her here tonight. Tina Gabbard, welcome.
Thank you for having me. This is the first stop on my big world tour. I'm very excited to kick this off.
I have to say, I'm honored. You're a big influence for me as an interviewer myself. I've read all of your stuff. I fan out a little bit as professional interviewer. I can't believe you're giving it up. Like, what happened? Why don't you love it anymore?
I just, you know, when I write out the questions for these rich and famous people, eventually the question marks at the end, I started to have an aversive reaction to it. They started to make me very ill. And
Mm-hmm.
I really just got tired of feeling sick all the time. And these people are used to being approached and asked, where do you come from? What are you about? What drives you? And I came to realize that I don't care anymore. I don't care. It is my turn for people to ask, what drives me? What's my backstory? And I know that media outlets only have a limited amount of readers and viewers. I want the entire world to know my story this time. There are plenty of people that I've interviewed. They have talked to all kinds of outlets all over the world. They have saturated the market with their story. It's time for a new guard, and I'm here to accommodate that.
Wow, that's it's really refreshing. Well, allow me to ask you, what drives you? What's your backstory?
Well, I have a very blue collar background. When I was about 13, I started driving tractor trailers. I've worked in coal mines. I've worked in animal shelters. I've really gotten my hands dirty with salt of the earth type work. I've talked to plenty of people who nobody will ever know their name. And that's part of the
Mm-hmm.
reason that I got into interviewing people that also drove trucks that I talked to at truck stops while we were waiting in line for the showers. They have incredibly illustrious. Everybody has a sad story, right? Everybody
Mm-hmm.
has a sad story without
Sure.
exception. And that is how I got interested in finding out what people are about, from talking to the people that clean the kennels at the animal shelters. I was a 911 operator for a while. Those people have all kinds of stories. And then over the course of my career, I got interested by speaking to those people, kind of boots on the ground, of
Mm-hmm.
what makes the world work, grocery store workers. As I established myself, I started interviewing pop singers,
Sure.
politicians, big media moguls. And I have to tell you, those people are much less interesting,
Mm-hmm.
much less interesting than everyday people. They come from money, they get everything they want, they don't struggle in a meaningful way. And I think part of what is making it my turn to be interviewed is that I do know what it's like to struggle. When you show up to interview someone who is rich and famous, and they don't have food that I like at their house. I mean, that's struggle, like I
Right.
have
Yeah.
really suffered, and I'm done suffering.
So now you're I guess you're not in control anymore because you're not the one asking the question. So uh, uh, do you remember the last question that you asked to someone, like a probing question?
I'm trying to remember because I've blocked a lot of it out of my memory. Um, However, the last interview that I conducted was with former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin. And
Oh,
I believe the last question I asked her was more existential in nature. And it was just, why? Why are you still in the news? Are you the political version of a Kim Kardashian? Are you here to
mm,
just wreak damage on the mental health of the general public? Why? Why do we still see you on television? And she got up and she left. She did not answer my question, and I think that left a terrible taste in my mouth in terms of ending my interviewing career on a sour note. I would
mm.
have chosen someone like Hannah Montana if it was up to me, but That was the
Sure.
assignment that came down from the media outlet that was employing me at the time.
Hmm. So, it's interesting. I can understand, sort of being burnt out, having to interview Sarah Palin. I'm sure is not a lot of fun. But now you're not asking anybody any questions. I mean, you have no desire to learn anything about anyone ever again.
I don't think so. I think that over a lifetime and a career of interviewing people, I have all the answers that I think I would like to have. I filled myself up to the top. It started to spill over a little bit, and I just slid a cap over it. I said, no more. I don't need any
Hmm.
more information about anybody else. I'm going to go forward and see what people want to know about me.
Hmm. Well, so I mean, has it been difficult? I mean, are you in a situation where someone is doing something weird, and you're like, "What's your deal? Like, what are you doing? What's your problem?" Like, you have to like, "Whoa, I don't want to know what your problem is or your deal is." Can you
As
just
I
turn
had
it off?
mentioned, not only question marks when I'm writing questions, also what makes me sick is how my voice goes up at the end of a sentence to indicate that it's a
Hmm.
question. I have completely cut that out of my everyday life. I speak in more of a monotone now. You will
Hmm.
never hear my voice go up at the end of a sentence. I'm just doing that for demonstration purposes. It all
Sure.
makes me ill. It turns my stomach, just a lifetime of oversaturation. This is the first day of the rest of my life.
Hmm. So, if it's not inappropriate, I was wondering if I was wondering if you thought of how I was doing. If you had any thoughts about me as an interviewer?
I think you're doing a wonderful job because you're only asking questions about me.
Hmm.
You're asking my opinions. You're not requesting any feedback. That makes me ask any questions. You are completely doing an amazing job because at no point do I feel the need to ask you any questions back. I think you're
Well,
covering the ground in a very professional way. And if there's something I can say to your supervisor, I'll be happy to do it as long as I don't have to ask him any questions.
I appreciate that. And I meant to touch on this earlier. You mentioned your opinions. I know you've got like a ton bottled up. Are there some opinions that you just want to let loose right now?
I think Freddie Mercury should have lived. We shouldn't have let him die. If there's people that work in the hologram industry that are watching this, I think if we can't bring him back in a bodily form, there should be a way to have him come to my house and have coffee with me. I would like to make that request. Not a question, a request.
Sure.
Um, I really think that socialism in the United States is something that is well overdue because, as much as I am sick of asking for answers to things, the American public should not have to ask for healthcare, higher wages. We're all sick of asking for things that we can or can't have. So that's influenced by my burnout from interviewing. I got tired of asking for
Hmm.
things. I don't think Americans should have to
Sure.
ask for anything. I think they should be taken care of. There's I have plenty of opinions. Um, I also think unless you have an allergy, you should be issued a cat when you file your tax return. I think they should send you a check in a little cat carrier. I think everybody should have
Oh,
a cat unless you have a special case. Some of
I,
my opinions are more consequential than others, but those are
well,
some of the ones that come to mind immediately.
I do have an allergy. So, like, what should I do? Oh,
I think since it's tied to the
uh,
tax code, it would make sense that in the same form where you file, this is what I do for a living, there should be a little check mark that you pay some kind of fine, or since we're doing socialism, that you could contribute still to other people having cats, but you would not be required to take in a cat because you have a medical exemption.
Okay. So I don't have to get like a dog or something. I'd prefer just not to
That
have a pet.
that's a blanket across the board exemption because it's
Okay.
understood since we have socialized medicine, if you have some kind of animal allergy, it's possible that it could be plenty of animal allergies, and there's just not enough manpower in the government to go through and make people prove all of their allergies. If you have one, you're assumed to have allergies to all companion animals.
Okay.
That's the
All right.
dream.
I can get down with that. So, you've got a lot more interviews coming up. Is there anyone you're looking forward to in particular?
Arianna Huffington is writing a piece on me sometime soon. I look forward to her call. Hasn't come in yet. Barbara Walters is retired. However, she said, as a favor to me, when I interviewed her, she would take a turn interviewing me. There is going to be a special edition of 2020, which, even though it has been off the air since well before the year 2020, they're going to do a special edition on me. Terry Gross has expressed interest. Haven't decided yet with her because we have a significant beef that I don't want to air
Oh,
her personal business, but we do have a history that goes back 20, 25 years, and those are wounds that are very deep. That I'm classy and I'm not going to expose her, but I will say there's some bad blood there.
oh. Well, I mean, I won't pressure you to divulge those secrets. Although, if you can give us a hint, I'm sure the audience would love it.
It had to do with a dispute with property lines
No.
between, excuse me, her as a landlord. She owns several hundred rental properties,
Oh.
and my nephew's former roommate. We got into it, and there may have been fisticuffs. I drew first blood, so
Oh.
I would like to protect her medical records per HIPAA, what I know about those,
Sure.
but she recovered in private for quite some time.
Oh. Wow. That is a bombshell. Uh, well, we're just about out of time. Is there anything that you'd like to any last words of wisdom you'd like to impart to the audience or people who are aspiring interviewers, perhaps?
I would like to encourage people not to get stuck. If you do something for 25 years and you're the best in the world at that, there is nothing preventing you from taking a step back and saying, I'm trying something new, and what I have given to the world, I also should feel empowered to go get that for myself. If you have had a work location that has bad food, then you can move on and find the good craft tables. They're out there. You're entitled to eat well, and you're entitled to your second act. So I encourage you to go forward and pursue what's yours.
Fantastic. Well, it's been a real honor. Tina Gabbard, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for not making me ask any questions.
MasterCard supports people of interest. We are the Master of Disaster card. Wait, that sounds like the card is a disaster. Masterclass card because we're classy? No, that doesn't make any sense. I told you we should have figured this out before we went live.
In the last decade or so, incidents of overly elaborate gestures of love have been steadily on the rise. People everywhere are expertly evading TSA agents to run through airports and stop their one true love from boarding a plane, to masterfully manipulating the every move of their unrequited love so as to sweep them off their meat when the time is just right. Not only are these incidents on the rise, they are being executed so skillfully that they almost seem scripted. It's all thanks to my next guest, Beatrice Messina, a self-titled romance consultant who uses her genius-level intellect to help hopeless romantics of the world find true love in the grandest way possible, and to also avoid capture by the FBI. That's right, Messina, dubbed the Moriarty of meet-cutes, is wanted by federal authorities on countless charges of aiding people in breaking laws and endangering the greater public, all in the name of love. Messina joins us here tonight from Montenegro, which has no extradition treaty with the United States, to plead her case to the court of public opinion that all she was doing was facilitating love. Beatrice Messina, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I've been reading some of the reports, and it all seems like it's something out of a movie. You had someone slipping past security at JFK, setting off all sorts of alarms. They've got everyone's out looking for this person. They stop their true love from getting on the plane, just like in the movie. Everyone cheers, and then they get arrested. How did you get into what made you even think of it? How did you know you had these skills?
I mean, honestly, just talking about the true love that I helped orchestrate is bringing some tears to my eyes right now. So I grew up in a rather broken home. My father left. Was very young, and my mom, she never remarried, and I could tell, there was something missing in her life, and we would say, go to a boardwalk, and she would bring my sister and I, and we're playing and enjoying each other's company, and I could just see there was something missing for my mother, and then I saw a couple on a Ferris wheel, and the guy he proposed, and I saw my mother's eyes light up, and I knew in that moment, I was going to change the fate of everybody on this planet if I needed to make sure that true love was found for everyone. And do I regret anything? No. But I think that, when people come to their senses, I'll be seen as a hero and not as a criminal,
Well, I don't want to discount what you're doing for these people, but you've orchestrated someone having a marching band walk through town, causing traffic jams, and people, who were trapped in ambulances couldn't get the care they needed because they couldn't get to the emergency room, or people, pulling a say anything where they're holding the boombox up, beneath their the Ione Skies window, violating local noise ordinances, especially at 6 a.m. when everybody's trying to sleep. Do you see that side of the argument that this could be, for the sake of two people uniting, you're causing a lot of trouble for other people?
And when I'm faced with these questions, because believe me, it's always, a part of this job that I've, decided to take on, and it is a thankless job sometimes, from those outside of the couples that I unite. But I'm going to quote, Pat Benatar and say, love is a battlefield. And, I'm ready to go to war. And it may be for, a couple that's only known each other for 5 minutes. But if they tell me that they are in love, then you bet your butt that I am going to make that happen.
Well,
So
that's well, they can't because you're in Montenegro. But
Right, right,
so,
right.
but like on the flip side, if someone falls in love with someone else, in 5 minutes, but that someone else, if boy meets girl, boy falls in love, girl hasn't fallen in love, and then you help boy, trail her for 3 years to figure out the exact
3 years.
right time to, sort of crumble her life to the point where, now she's, being lifted up and in love with this gentleman. Isn't that, it seems bad.
Yeah. Oh, this bad and good. Love is it's really there's no right and wrong when it comes to affairs of the heart. And you say, oh, she's, or he may not be in love with them yet. And what I say is, they haven't been given the right opportunities, that we have not, the universe has not allowed them to be in a situation where, let's say, she's rushing out the door and she loses her shoe on the stairwell, and she's in such a hurry she doesn't realize she needs somebody to get that shoe and bring it for her, for her big meeting where maybe, she needs a hero in her life. And sometimes I fancy myself the universe. It's this little helper.
What, and it's a really wonderful thing. Although I am curious, you do apparently charge very exorbitant fees to make this happen. I mean, this is kind of your living. Uh, do you have a rate card or a kind of a general sense if anybody's interested in employing your services?
It's really a case by case basis. I need to know what type of client. Sometimes we're not just talking, regular people. Sometimes I'm, setting up, princes, high profile celebrities. I even had a recent client need some help reaching out to, uh, extraterrestrial type. I don't want to give too much away, but
Cool.
that's gonna cost some more because it's a lot of resources on my end, and I mean, I need I have a certain level of living that I'm accustomed to, and it's not gonna pay for itself. you know.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta eat. So, are there clients that you won't take? I mean, if the price is right, will you work with anybody, or is anyone, sort of like, nope, that's too much. It's not gonna work.
Right. That's a great question because I do have to be a little bit picky because I am, just inundated with people, and let's be honest, the work that I do is very specialized, is very tedious, is specifics or details. So it can take a long time with one client. I can't just take on anybody. So, if you're not, you know, able to afford, the price of admission to, say, the fancy country club in a, major metropolitan area, then you probably can't afford my services. And
Hmm.
and at that point, I might say that, good luck on finding. I do have some, pre-made meet cutes that you can
Hmm.
buy. They're on my website. I don't really have anything to do with the setups, rather just some goals that you could have in mind, and some situations that you could, manipulate for yourself, to help you to find love, or to get that one special person to see you. But as far as personal services, it is high-end clients only at this point.
Hmm.
I have a high success rate, so.
What is your success rate, if I might ask?
Oh, thank you. It's 100%.
Oh, wow. And then
I know,
everyone's
I know.
they stayed married
Everybody,
or together.
I don't see a relationship ending as a failure in love. I see it as a new opportunity to find a new love in your life. And, I'm here and ready for when that does happen. And so, I like to refer to it as a transition in love.
Hmm.
And so, but 100%. And I honestly, every time I say it, I go, 100%, but it's true. Yeah.
One of the questions that's kind of been nagging at me and just, sort of researching you is
Sure. Yeah.
I never have seen you, in yourself in a relationship. Like, are you single now? I mean, do you ever kind of use your own services, or uh, are you, if that's not too personal a question?
Uh, uh, those that I hate to say those that can't do teach, but I find my true love in life is helping others find true love.
Hmm.
And I've had many transitions in love in my life. And we're always striving to be our best selves. And are you? I hate to be. Are you single or is that
No, I'm married. Sorry.
right? I'm very happy for you. And if you ever have a
Oh,
transition in love, you
yeah, I
can
absolutely
always.
will. I mean, if you don't get caught.
No, not me. I won't.
uh,
Caught in love.
yeah. Now, I understand you do kind of have like a dedicated task force from the FBI that's looking for you. Do you have that sort of point person that you kind of have that catch me if you can kind of back and forth with?
You are good at your job. Um, without giving too many details away, sure, there are some playful banter with somebody that may have it out for me. But things are a little bit early and I don't want to talk about it too soon.
Sure.
But I am planning on writing a memoir. So please, keep an eye out for that because I feel like this transition in love has real potential to be explosive.
Like you
I'm blushing. I'm
yeah,
blushing.
you might be giving
Oh
a
my gosh.
new meaning to the word to cuffing season.
Oh, please, no. Look, love is a battlefield, as I said, and who knows who might end up in cuffs, but good chance it's not me.
Yeah, unless like I guess the hand because like cuffing season is also like when you get engaged, right? Like I think am I reading that correctly?
Right.
Yeah, yeah, okay,
That's
yeah.
okay, right. Yeah.
I'm not
I
always
just
aware.
I want to be very I just want to be very specific and that I won't
Yes.
be in jail. I am not. I am only guilty of helping people find love. You know.
Well, in the brief time we have left, do you have any words out there for the lonely hearted who
Oh,
uh, haven't found love yet?
yeah, I do. Um, they're out there. They may be the barista that you see every day. They may be the lawyer helping you with your divorce. Uh, they may be your neighbor that helped you fix that leaky sink that one time. Love is out there. And if you're having trouble, I could help with a very small 6-digit fee. Um, and I have 100% success rate. I'm laughing again about it. It's truly remarkable.
Well, Beatrice Messina, thank you so much for being here. I wish you the best of luck, although legally I'm not allowed to say that I wish you the best of luck evading the authorities. The legal team said I'm not allowed to say that.
Well, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's our show. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's bring out the cast, the guests. I forget what I call them. With live audio right now, all of our people watching at home applauding. If you're watching at home right now and you're not applauding, you must be really embarrassed that you weren't doing it. Woo! Great show, everyone. Thanks again for doing the show. Let's go around. Hey, Joe, what do you got going on these days?
So I host a podcast called Fair Deal and Improvised Mediation, and it is when myself and 3 comedians kind of just do a pretend mediation. It's lots of fun. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, all the podcast places, and you can also follow it on Instagram and Facebook.
All right. And just for clarity, that you do not take bribes during that show.
I do not take bribes. But if anybody wants to pay me for doing a podcast, I will gladly accept it.
All right. Katie, my new friend, what are you up to? What you got going on?
I have social media that is unusual in that every profile I have is my real legal name. So if you would like to find my website, katiearrosa.com, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all at Katie Arrosa. So I am very easy to find. And I do stand up around. I only do shows like this under very special circumstances, which are somebody asked me to do it. I will always say yes. And I just wanted to, for Pride Month, encourage people to donate, volunteer, get involved with the Trevor Project. It's thetrevorproject.org. However, if you Google Trevor Project, it will show up. So don't worry about getting that address exactly correct. It's very easy to find. So yes, and thank you for having me. This was a delightful, fun time.
Well, thank you for being here. And now my other new friend, Sandra.
Hi.
What do you got going on? What's new in your world?
It's just check me out on Instagram. I do some improvised medical dramas and romantic comedies, and it's fun.
I wonder where I got the idea for your character. It's true. So, yes, check out all of these great people. Neil pre-records this stuff. He writes it in advance anyway, so it's not like it's improv, so it's okay that he's doing it. But he and I have another show this Sunday. You can find us on Facebook, My Dinner with Ryan Neil P.T. Bardhan, because we decided to come up with a terrible name for our show, where we interview just guests, and we have kind of a dinner party virtually, and we just chat. It's just a fun time. Vanessa Hollingshead, who is a stand-up comedian based out of New York, is going to be on the show this Sunday. So check us out on Facebook, and we're also on YouTube through Frigid Theater. So check us out. If you go into Facebook, you just start typing "My Dinner with Ryan Neil," it'll just show up. We're the only ones. No one else would come up with such a dumb name. So I'm promoting my other show on my current show. But thanks again, guests. I'll see you back in the green room. All right. You know, I also have to thank TAT Communications. One of these days, I'm going to do it perfectly. TAT Communications is one that they put this show together for me, and once again, it looks great. It flows very smoothly. I mean, yeah, have you seen where have you seen such good transitions? Nowhere. So if you've got a professional event coming up where you need a really smoking hot production value for your presentation, hit them up and they can do this for you. How about that? And finally, thank you for coming out tonight and watching the show. Hope you enjoyed it. And as always, I've been your host, Ryan T. Barlow. This has been People of Interest, and please stay interesting. Good night.